Hey everyone, Crow here, and I was at the 35th Annual Pinball Expo in Wheeling, Illinois, that was open to the public from October 16th through the 19th. That's a Wednesday through Saturday, though I only showed for Saturday. But I was there from well before noon to around 9 p.m., so I had a long day there. And I had a great time there, and I think this is probably my favorite expo so far in the 8 or so years that I've gone. And the footage that you're going to see was taken throughout the day on my cell phone gorilla style, so please forgive me for that, but I've edited the footage as best I could to eliminate some of the harsher motions, and basically I'm just going to do a commentary over this footage. So what we're seeing here is the entrance where you would pay, and there was a raffle, and the prize was a Jurassic Park premium, and we didn't win it, but moving on, they had shirts for sale, and here's a Joker Lego table that was pretty cool looking. I didn't see it while the guy was there, so there was the note on there, don't touch it, but presumably it worked. There is Todd Tuckey from TNT Amusements. I know Frank was there as well, although he wasn't in the shot there. We'll get back to this later, but there's a Zachary a robot and a Cyclops, was it? I don't remember now. Cyclops, I think. But here is a booth in the front there for Scorebit, which looked pretty interesting. It's a device that you hook up to your existing pinball machine, and it does high scores and everything. And for operators, it lets operators know remotely if something is wrong with the machine. So it's pretty cool in that respect. So I took a bunch of footage here because I thought it was kind of cool. You'd see the scores up on the screen and everything. Okay, now this is later in the day. This is back where the robot and the Cyclops was. This is TurboGrafx 7, and he was doing a live stream that day and Friday. So I saw him they were streaming Robot on Friday and Cyclops the next day. And I would highly recommend, I wound up on his stream. I would highly recommend following him at TurboGrafx 7. So yeah, there's the Cyclops, there's this setup. And we're jumping right in. This is the Pin Lounge, I believe it was called. This is basically where all the Stern stuff was. So there was a ton of Jurassic Parks there in both Pro and Premium. We'll see some Elvira's in there later. There's a whole row of Stern machines, including Black Knight. But this is the Jurassic Park. It was the first time I got to play it, and I had a ball. And I wouldn't have minded winning one of these, but like I said, we didn't win. We put in like 4 entries between me and my wife. But I thought it was a really cool machine. It wound up being more fun than I thought it was. The moving dino head really does add a little bit of element to that, so it's pretty cool. We're going to see a little bit of that coming up. I know it's coming up. Yeah, there it is. I made sure to put this footage in there. I thought it was really cool the way, and this is the Premium. In the Pro, I think the head just moves up and down, but in the Premium, it moves left to right and everything. And it's a fun table. It's much more fun than I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, the Jurassic Park table, we should be moving on shortly. There we go. We're walking through. What we're seeing up here, this is where Cassandra Peters, is it Peterson or Peter? Cassandra Peters, AKL Elvira. She was at the show. I didn't get in line to get a signature or anything, but there she was. And that is Jack Danger. He was streaming on Dead Flip, and he was streaming some Elvira's House of Madness. We'll see some more of that coming up. This was a little bit later in the day. I'm kind of going back and forth between like times a day here just to get locations kind of synchronized in this video. But the flip out tournament, I believe it was going on in the other side of the room, so they were kind of showing that on projectors. This was a whole row of Elvira's House of Horrors, the brand new Stern. I guess this was kind of like the official unveiling of the machine. And there it is. And I played this the most. This machine is awesome. It's right up my alley. I wouldn't say it plays better than my Stern Star Trek, but I think I'd rather have this machine just because of the theme and the clips of the old movie. And me being a big Mystery Science Theater fan, it's just right up my alley. Like Manos Hands of Fate is in it, and Teenagers from Outer Space, and Elvira comes in there and has her own quips and everything. But yeah, there's a whole row there. Along the side here, we have some Star Treks. This is that home Star Trek, and I had to play it just to see if it was worth $5,000 that they're asking for it, and in my opinion, it's not. It feels really cheap. Like, the whole machine feels like it shakes when the pop-uppers go off. And I don't know why you would spend $5,000 on that when you could spend just a little bit more and get a heftier pinball machine, or even a 90s pinball machine for maybe even half of that. But this is the area where they were doing the tournaments, the flip-out tournaments. This was before they actually started doing the commentary, but that's where they were doing the podcast from, with the giant green screen. So again, that's just a look of all the tables that they had during the tournament. I didn't enter the tournament. I did it one year and I did really bad. But if I was planning on being here like every day, I would definitely give it a shot. I don't see why not. But again, I just kind of like to go at my own pace, see what I want to see. And there's a stage. I think at 11 p.m. is when this whole area shut down and they had a DJ. So that's presumably why they had this that up there. And again, I didn't stay that long. But this right now, we switched over to the main vendor hall. And just to look around there, what we kind of passed right at the beginning were the homebrews. And we will come back to that a little bit later. But yeah, just a quick look around at what all the vendors had brought to the show. I'm sure I'll have lots to talk about. There was a Kroll pinball machine, and so that was pretty interesting. I didn't have a chance to play it, but yeah, I'll just kind of stop and show some stuff that I found interesting. Pin Stadium had a lot of tables there. We're going to cut in on that shortly. Just a little bit I jumped in on the Water World because I'd never seen it before. And this table looked fantastic, and it was really interesting to play. But yeah, you had the Champion Pub, a whole bunch of other machines down that line, and we're going to look the other way, and we can see a Red and Ted Roadshow and some other stuff there. That was, this is the Chicago Gaming. We just passed by it briefly, and then there was a guy doing illustration. Then CoinTaker, of course, is always at the show. CoinTaker is where I bought my topper from, and we'll see some of the toppers that they had on display a little bit later when I kind of round this corner. Pin Game Journal, of course, is always there. Not much more to say. Just kind of rambling off the top of my head. Around the corner, there was a guy there. He was a collector. He has his own booth. I think he's got a booth here every year. Just a bunch of kind of random stuff. Always interesting to look at. Looks like Rage Tilt Pinball there. Mods. Oh yeah, some mods for your pinball machine. So I didn't get a good look at that. But some T-shirts again. I think that might be CoinTaker. They had some pachinko machines, which is interesting because I hadn't seen so many pachinko machines over there. But we'll get back to the pachinko machines. Again, here are some of the toppers that CoinTaker had. I'm really happy with the Star Trek one I have. So if you have a pinball machine that needs a topper, why not check out CoinTaker? They got some great stuff there. And then there's the pachinko. And I guess you could pay for, it was like a fundraiser. I don't know what they were fundraising. I didn't really look into it. But a lot of people had some fun playing pachinko I saw during the day. So what are we looking at next? Another booth here. I actually bought a tie, a pinball-related tie from that booth, and a couple coasters. Jersey Jack had some machines on this back wall here. Mostly Willy Wonka's. There was a Wizard of Oz, but I hadn't played Willy Wonka before, so I did make sure to play that. This is actually my wife playing it at the moment. It was a pretty fun machine. It was, I gotta admit, not really knowing the rules or anything, it was fun. But honestly, I really liked Jurassic Park and Elvira, and I like those more than this table. But that's just, like the first time playing it. I don't know if it gets better once you know the rules, or when I know Willy Wonka is a table that a lot of people like. There's a Nudget. This Nudget winds up at the show every so often, I think, if not every year. But it is a rare machine, so I kind of homed in on it a little bit too long. Quicksilver. I'm not really sure. It's Pinball Creative. Wasn't really sure what they did. Here's a booth. Let's see if I could catch the name of it. But they had a lot of stools I thought were really cool for $100 each. They had some other. If I had the money, I might have bought a stool. I really like those stools. What booth is this? I'm not really sure offhand. Oh well, we won't find out. But this was a Spanish company that was making their own pinball machines. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I hadn't seen anything like this before. Here's one that didn't have any sort of display or anything in the back box. I think there was a screen in the table itself. I might have seen this one before now that I think about it, but it seemed new at the time when I was playing, not playing it, but looking at it. I didn't get a chance to play this one either. But yeah, there were a lot of vendors there that were bringing some pretty interesting things to the table here. There's a weird basketball game there. As another booth, we'll see the name of it shortly, but I thought all these toppers, these fan toppers, lighted pinballmods.com. They had a lot of cool stuff. Their show on the floor was really, really bright and eye-catching. And the camera's not really picking up those fans really well, but they look more solid, and you could play like movies and stuff on top of your pinball machine with those fans. So it was really cool. Those things were like $250 each. And here we are looking at the Homebrews. Let's see what we got here is a party time. We'll come back around again. I know I threw that footage in there. There's Undertale Homebrew Pinball, Robotech. Yeah, so pretty interesting to see what people have made. Here's a little bit closer look at Undertale Pinball Edition. And a lot of work has really got to go into these tables. So it's really interesting when they bring these tables back again year after year after year, the progress that they make on them. Now, I hadn't seen the Undertale one before. And sometimes they don't come back every year, because I know a couple of them I saw last year that I didn't see this year. Party Time, you can see that they're kind of drawing out what they want on the play field. What's this? A Harry Potter, which was a like a virtual pinball cab. And that's one thing I didn't see at the show. Like every year there's always some sort of display of virtual cabs, but not this year. Didn't see any virtual cabs at all. Not disappointed or anything, just thought it was interesting. There was A Nightmare Before Christmas, Ghost in the Shell, somebody, Total Annihilation Taxi. Looks like somebody's trying to do something on that, like really early stages probably. And off to the corner here is a Castlevania table that I really didn't pay too much attention to, but I heard was really great. And of course, that's Jack Danger again, playing that at the time I was filming footage of it. And then I don't know who does these. Houdini on Oktoberfest. American Pinball. There it is. Caught it. So I wanted to play Oktoberfest. Didn't get a chance to. Those machines were pretty much hogged up the whole day. Even when I waited a long time, I couldn't get on one because people just kept playing them again and again and again while getting another shot or somebody else waiting in line. I don't know if that's proper etiquette or what was going on here, but maybe it was just I just showed up at a bad time. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting looking machine. Maybe one year I'll get to play it. I do remember playing Houdini last year, and I know Oktoberfest has showed up in the past. Now this was interesting. This is Geltz, I think. Seltz or Geltz. But it is a table by this Australian company called Haggis Pinball. And they talked to me a while about this table, and in fact, the guy who was talking to me about it is playing it here. I did have a chance to play it. It was pretty cool. He was telling me how when you order this machine, you can put your own name in the machine, and they would record audio for it and everything. And it was pretty interesting, especially from Australian. And the Australian pinball scene seems to be growing like a lot. There's a lot of Australian pinball people out there that I've seen on Twitch for the most part. But yeah, let's move on. This is, I saw this as like a 35th anniversary Pinball Expo machine that was custom made, maybe specifically for this event. I think they do this every so often, and this just so happened to be the one for this year. So it looked pretty interesting. This isn't really pinball related, but this tape booth was pretty cool. Art-O-Vision, they did these kind of 3D shadow box type displays, and there's some pinball stuff thrown in there and video game stuff, but it's like a solid piece of acrylic. And I had to buy the Burger Time one. I don't know if you'll see it in here. Yeah, there it is. I kind of see it up there, but it's a big, heavy chunk of like acrylic or plastic or something, and it was like $40 for the small one, $120 for the big one, and I had to get the Burger Time one just for like a souvenir or whatnot. What we've been looking at now, this is the game hall. This is where people brought their own machines for others to play. And sometimes they put a price on there if they're looking to sell it as well. So it's kind of a good way if you're looking to buy a pinball machine or sell a pinball machine, to bring it to the expo and get some eyes on it. Maybe you'll find somebody interested in playing it. I did kind of single out a couple of machines that I liked playing or were interesting. But for the most part, I'm just kind of walking through, just, you know, filming. You just give you a sense of how big this room was and how many machines were in this room. Hey, look, Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. I have one of those, although that one did have the gate that I'm missing on mine. And then we have a whole bunch of arcade machines that were brought in from Galloping Ghosts. Just kind of looking at this final wall here. So yeah, a lot of pinball, arcade machines as well. Maybe 30 or more. Man, it looks like more than 30, doesn't it? But yeah, Doc Mac was actually just sitting off to the left there, kind of with Pete Hahn and everything. So yeah. Oh yeah, here I singled out this Pinball Champ because it is a Zaccaria table. Really good looking condition, really bright. It played really well. I did play this one. So just to get your eyes on a Zaccaria table, since I do stream a lot of Zaccaria tables on Twitch, and for the better part of a year or more, I've been posting a Zaccaria video every week. Hey, look, they had a Pinball Champ 82 as well. This is a completely different part of the building, but it's practically the same machine, just with a different art style. Maybe slightly different rules. I don't remember. Oh, I had to take video of this. I know I've taken video of this in the past, but this is Orbiter 1. If you're familiar with this. If you're not familiar with this, this is the one that's got the really weird curved insert where you could do things like the ball can flip around the flippers because there's just a little hole back there for draining. But yeah, it's a very unusual machine and it's very interesting to play. I couldn't see anybody playing that competitively though, but Order 1 by Stern, that's a funny one. And then we've got, I went back and I took more footage of Armadillo Racing because Galloping Ghosts unveiled this machine at the Pinball Expo. And then after the expo, it was going back in their storage, and then they will bring it out later at a later date to the arcade. So I had to play some Armadillo Racing. I've seen this one in Maine. Wasn't quite sure what it was about, but it was a lot of fun to play. Got a big giant ball to roll the armadillo. And then also new to this year, there was a retro gaming room, and this was run by Paul Zimmerman and Todd Friedman. And it's new this year. I enjoyed that this was here, even though it's not really pinball related. And that's because, you know, you're walking all day. You want a place to sit. And yeah, this is just a great place to sit and relax and to play some games while you're resting your feet. And yeah, there's Paul Zimmerman's. He got the Spirit Award. They gave him the Spirit Award for coming up with the idea, I think. And Todd Friedman, of course, helped him out with that. And this Fun with Pinball area was just kind of like showing you how pinball mechanics worked. And it was really cool. It was kind of meant for kids to push buttons and to see, like, oh, what happens in a pinball machine when you hit this button and everything. And all the mechanics are visible if you look under the boards. They've had something like this in the past, but in the past it was like a small table. This was a whole room, and there was a lot on display. They did an excellent job with this, and it's something I think is perfect for the Pinball Expo. And that's all the footage I pretty much have from the Pinball Expo. Now, I know I didn't get footage of everything at the expo, but that was most of it and the stuff that I really paid attention to. Now, before I end the video, I do want to say that about a mile away from the Pinball Expo, sometimes I stop in at a place called Super Dog. There's two of them. One's on North Milwaukee Avenue. This one's on South Milwaukee Avenue. And they have some of the best hot dogs. And I'm just showing this picture. This is a Chicago-style hot dog. And the reason I'm doing it is because there are people that I've tried to explain to what a Chicago-style hot dog is, and they just can't picture it. So this is a Chicago-style hot dog. I don't get them with the sport peppers, but sport peppers could be on it as well. This is really the only way I know how to eat a hot dog unless it's a chili dog. But if it's not a chili dog, this is the way the hot dog is supposed to be. And yeah, with that, we're going to end the video. So thanks for watching. And if you liked the video, I would recommend liking the video. And if you're not subscribed, I would recommend subscribing. Got plenty of videos, pinball related, digital pinball related. And I usually do one of these expo videos every year when I attend. And I would also recommend checking out my Twitch channel at Crow Pinball. And yeah, see you all next time.